Bam,
Wagwizi, wagwan, tizo.
50 plus gang, fair, tapinda. What you mean, cuz? Holla at your boys. Come on now.
No. I feel like
Come on.
at this point, Harare City Council, Bulawayo City Council need to put our faces from a bridge. You know,
Come on.
need to
Come
put our
on.
faces from a send right. No.
For my send right. Every goronga mgeto. Vanofanira ngozi. Atitomboda billboard kandizo. Tingoda just unaweza zvikwangwari zverata zvaizvo zvinenge zvakanzi tinosona bhutsu panapa. Tinopenda 007 chakuti tinopodcast. Tinotandara.
Emi, unganaiti ngosasa pano panika nyaya kari kupisa. We just wanna talk about it matitika. Welcome. Oh, you know what time it is. Send it to your friends so they also be a part of this. You cannot describe what you feel, huh? We're taking Zimbabwe to the world, huh? Yeah, this is Black in 4. Welcome. This is Black in 4.
Welcome.
Yeah.
West End. Really say
Welcome.
Yeah.
How you feeling?
I'm feeling jubilant, jovial, excited,
West End. Excited.
happy. You are because you wait. She freshly baked.
Don't worry, we'll get to that. Don't worry. So welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is the one and only podcast, Sevano, the People's Podcast. Kept seeing those comments. No. This is the People's Podcast, and we didn't want to be the ones that say it. We usually toot our horns, but we're like, let the people decide.
The truth. The proof is in the pudding. The proof is in the pudding.
No, we have the proof is in the model. What are you saying? The proof is in the model. Tichidandauka tichitefenura kumativi mana ose yenyika wherever you are, Asia, Middle East, Southern Africa, kuseri, even Greenland, tiriko. So big shout out to you guys for being
big
the
up yourselves.
Man. Big up yourself. Just want to obviously start off Nima, with the ones that gave us some coffees. Big shout out to Brian K's hands couldn't let episode 50 Pasina Kandiro Kesadza for my guys. Big shout out to you, Brian. Then Terence came through. Hands awesome episode with Twangai Takanakirwa. Ndova tine mkono wake we plate yesadza. Chichi bought 3 plates yesadza. Hands ndakanyara ne 1 coffee yamakareva last episode. It was a wake up call kuti Tite pull up our socks. Shout out to you, Chichi, man. We love you.
Thank you. Chichi has shame. Chichi has shame. I need more of you to have shame.
Ganda bridge uchinakirwa netuma jokes but wongoti mazi but vakaona bridge chimbomwai mafreezed. I think because it's summer we're going to change this from plate yesadza into mafreezed.
To freeze it. I was about to say.
Because you jambi. So we're going to tweak this. Is going to say bought my freeze. Then Nyasha Mcheka bought 2 plates esadza hanzi tikati tibadare chikwereti. Congratulations on 50 episodes, boys. Repa bridge. Shout out to you, Nyasha. Then Keith Mahove bought 3 plates esadza hanzi. You introduced me to song ya Takura on the plate esadza. And I just realized you guys deserve plate yesadza. Handina yangu yakawanda, but Jembi on me nasi. I always want to buy, but most of the time I listen to the pod while driving. Tiningi takadzanywa nema shift. So ndinongozofunga kutenga next time, but nasi I did. Big shout out to you.
Big up yourself.
Then Taku Villain bought 5 plates yesadza. Hands the happiest of birthdays to boys Repa Bridge. Shout out to you. So Doma coffees.
Thank
you. This week, Doma coffees.
That's an improvement. That's an improvement.
It's a huge improvement. But considering how fire that Tongai episode was,
I mean,
hey.
You even got a little bonus part too. Come on.
Wakambobika zvekuti unobika unodya vanhu vachidya zvawabika unenge wakatasa maziso zviri sei? Zvinaka. Kari sei?
No. Bata nyama ka uimixe nekasalad kari apapo idipe musupu rova iri kombo unyatsonzwe maflavors.
No. Last week, you cook and you're like, nah. Nizha dzezvimoto.
Zvotosara neleftover kuti zvozvichipapura mangwana.
Nah, come on, man. Shout out to all
and
this
also
big Tongi.
A big up to Ngai, of course. Amazing, sensational guest. What a guest! Came vibe, whatnot.
Yeah.
And also, I would like to. We spoke about this with Candizo.
Yeah.
Give a big shout out to our BFFs. Murano in a sense, Murano in a sense. You got it. The message connected.
You understand
resonated.
the vibes.
You understand. You get it. Maga appreciated the depth of it and whatnot. But it's only the BFFs.
You understand what you? Sorry, I cut you off. What did you want to say? It's only the BFFs.
No, I was literally about to say. I also noticed, Johnny, this is testament to how reasonable and full of sense our BFFs are. If you look at some of the comments on social media where people just interact with the clip, my comments are very stupid. So I don't go on. I ask my BFFs. Avano arupfura nepanapa. Avano arupfura nepagoronga vachingenda vachiti mutara nyopo vachienda. But vatinotandira nawo pa bridge chaipo. There's a clear disparity in just reasoning capacity.
I have. Let me read this comment. Let me read this comment because I had to. I remember taking a screenshot.
What was it alluding
to?
But
the screenshot was like, oh, this is my first time watching Black and Forth, and I'm so pissed off because you guys kept interrupting the guest. You could feel that Tongai had more that he wanted to say, but you guys kept wanting to. First of all, fuck off. First of all,
it didn't come out of my mouth.
You've never had me. You've never had me swear, but we don't do my interviews. If that was an interview, that first question would have asked, right?
So when did your journey start?
So when did your journey?
When did you start acting? When did it begin? Come on.
There's platforms that do that. Tongai goes on talk shows in Hollywood. If you want to find out information like that, go to that.
Tongai literally does Comic-Con and them things. Like my platform, press tour, you know.
We were hanging out in Mkoma Edu. We were hanging out and
London, Muhud.
You know, this is not a Zoom meeting where people wait to hear someone's thought and then respond. This is not. I don't know kuti munoita ma conversations ne kupi nevanhu kwekuti munomirira kuti vataure.
Munopasira na microphone kuti right chitaureyo.
Real conversations with them Bawa, with them Mota, with them Kombi is you say whatever you're saying as soon as you think it. Because it's that kind of atmosphere anyone can throw in and green it. This is not a town hall meeting.
Facts. And I don't even lament that by saying you might even find a lot of the guans to discuss well maybe in my capacity chill out, because a lot of these conversations are conversations that I've had with Tongai. We've discussed a fair few of these things. So now I'm going to know Peter why and whatnot. And then remember
no, man. And
get out of here, man.
And to be honest, I have to be fair here. It was maybe one or two people who came through with that. Yeah, I want to say welcome to all the new people that just joined us because of the Tonga episode. Welcome to you guys. Shout out to you. Hopefully you stay long enough to become of the gang. But Panapa Tite Rojo. This is not the kind of podcast. Yeah, we need to show up, name our views, and try to tell us how to do our podcast. Entitlement, there is so many creatives that have let go of things that they wanted to do because they can't deal with the unsolicited opinions. Dai madai. Tanga yako.
Andifarire because ndikuita pylon. I know the mentality yoga because when you come out and you comment zvakadaro uri kutsvaga vanhu vari kuwirirana newe kuti
mazona. You're trying to present yourself as good. You are risking losing me as a listener, brother. We don't care. We don't care.
Yeah, no, aiwa titodi zvekutongwa nemasalad.
Aiwa panapa tudzirwe. I'm sorry, please never get carried away and think kuti
tokatautaura kuti munhu akatenga plate yesadza ndeangatoti pamwe. And you know, okay, it goes without saying pane imwe criticism iri valid yatinoona kuti this is constructive. You know, we'll take that on board. We'll take stock of it.
Anzi munashe, you can tell kuti angana bamnini wake because not hapana kana zvimafakfak.
Guys. I know, but Bamdi Gong Christo. He's a man of faith. He's a man of faith.
Anzi munashe angashitongwa kofi.
He's a man of faith, honest. Even like you know, even boys bridge adapt. We adapt and come on.
But the Tonga obviously put us in a predicament. Obviously put us in a very clear bind. Where do we go from here? Like honestly.
Yeah. You've outdone yourselves.
You've outdone. Like going into the episode, you knew like this is a dope episode because of who he is. But then it became dope for different reasons. He was somebody who was ready to hang out. You know, people are like, yo, this, like I think one of the most consistent comments was just like, yo, this amount of Shona from you,
which actually surprises me because I think I'm starting to realize.
There was a clip that trended of him pretending not to be able. I think that was the context where people were like, "Oh, right."
But come on, let's do better, guys. Munangari pa studio 263. Munangari mu boy, you got to know as a full grown man. I'm surprised that people have that perception of him. Of course, I'm Tarashona.
But then again, we've had people that get to kungopfura neba British Embassy atongoma in it. You know.
I think I got a Liverpool accent mdara apa manonga vaya ku UK. Bro, he came, bro, this nigga came to England a year before I did.
Yeah.
And ndakatana pa phone, you know, my days I'm on Facebook. I'm looking for one boys around. Yo. I'm England. What's up, my bro? Bro, how's it doing, lad? Aba dengeri pure scouts ndainzwisisa but dengeri scouts itori ine sadza mdara. What are you doing, lad? Fucking hell, lad. Hey, bruv.
Like you,
in that moment, I told myself that no matter what I do, I'm going to make it an active effort to never try and assimilate like that. So that do a British accent. Go on, a British accent code switch.
I can't even code switch because I've told myself that I have nothing that requires me to code switch on that level. It's going to be wire.
Because you're your own man. Those are one man operation, one man jugger.
For you have to learn.
You're right, love. Hey, the weather's nice, ain't it? Yeah. Finally, some sunlight.
You know, the man is with Trader say, but you're my guest, sir. Trader say, but you're my guest. She was like, don't worry. I got you. I got you, Saga. She's bringing our this week's episode. We have a very
it was going to be hard to top up last week's episode guests, but I promise you we can.
We
can. We absolutely can. We can. Jimmy, don't you ever think vakomreba bridge vanopererwa nemaguests are high caliber. Don't ever make that mistake, because look at this new guest.
What are you talking about?
What are you saying, Kazo? Look at that.
Yeah.
You see it?
You see
it?
This is Ivainesu Naomi Majoni. Episode 51. Yeah, man.
Congratulations, my brother.
Thank you.
Wow.
So unfortunately, you know, our episode, our guest didn't have much to say, you know, quite at next time. You know, I mean, you know, she's still assimilating to the bridge culture. You know, so
I should download the software. It's still installing.
Download the software. You know, she's still getting used to it. But yeah, man, Maita is now a big brother.
He's a big brother.
He's getting used to. He's still looking at her suspiciously, like, "Hey, what is the gradin?"
Because
previously, you know, babies used to come and go, you know, and he's like, "Yo, who's
then hanging around them? Hey, who the nigga though?"
Because usually people come with their parents, but this person just showed up.
Hey, who you with?
Let me give it time. Let me give you. Who are you affiliated with here?
Pangwam
Kangano.
So I don't know. I'm sure those.
He's going to nursery, and I think he would be shocked to come back and still find her here. Like, okay.
This is getting out of hand now. This is getting out of hand now.
What's
guys?
But hey, we you know, very, very grateful. Mommy and baby are doing very well.
All healthy.
You know,
yep.
All healthy. We got discharged after, you know, a few hours. Managed to come back home. So thank you. You know, thank you guys so much.
My son and I'm a British citizen.
Brother. That was my first thought.
Nigga, you're the only foreigner in that yard.
I'm the only foreigner in my own home. Everyone is an immediate British citizen. I need to sort it out. Also, just wanted to before we get into this week's, last week went to watch Marshall Munetsi do his thing.
Oh yeah, that looks sick.
It was so dope. Managed to connect with some listeners off the podcast. There, I think it was a gang of about 15 people there who came through. The Warriors coach Sama was also one of the people that had come here. Happened to be in London during the time, and he came to watch. And you know, Marshall Munetsi won. Well, his team won 3-0.
Did he start?
So, yeah, he's been starting every game since he got signed, which is crazy.
It's good.
Which is fire. And then afterwards, we got an opportunity to hang out with him. He was like, "Hey guys, let me take you out for dinner." And we went out.
That's nice.
And it's not because I realized the difference. Like in theory, I'd always known the difference in fame, right? Like I'd always understood that there's different levels to fame. I had never been unfortunate enough to be a victim of
being adjacent to such levels of.
I had never
like fanatics.
I've been around people that are more popular than I am. I've been one of my good friends, one of my closest friends, Nigel, vastly. But whenever we are, it's always, you know, trade off. You know, if you're walking in the street, Nija, then you get a cut. You know, Nija. It's always, you know.
3-1, 4-1,
3-1, 4-1. You know, 3-1. Sometimes
5-2.
depending on where you are, if we are up north, it's kandoro, things like that. But
Yeah.
brother, have you ever been shoved aside so people can take a picture with a football player?
Scores.
Like, have you ever been? I've never been handed anyone's phone. Kuti tora photo and
It's even worse than this. Hey, Kandoro, big fan. Camera.
I almost pulled out my YouTube. I almost pulled out my YouTube. Dion, I'm someone
100K plus views, guys. Come on.
119.
Come on, guys.
It was beautiful. It was beautiful, man, seeing him so loved and how quickly the people of Wolverhampton have taken to him. You know, he was so beautiful. Parents coming with their kids, you know, grown ass man. The restaurant that we went to eat at, the owner, I think because of the shuffling, the people weren't familiar with because Takango to the group, weren't familiar with who's. But then once we sat down and
when they realized who the party
people started
is,
coming.
We've got a prem footballer in the restaurant.
Yeah, the owner came.
Local hero.
How did you find out about the what? I think it was one of those. If he had known prior to us going in, that food would have been on the house.
That press, everything on the house.
So it's like, whenever, you should bring the squad. You should bring the squad whenever you guys have some downtime. And it was really beautiful to see, a black boy from Zimbabwe, from Mavuku to be specific. It was incredible. It was so incredible. It was so incredible.
And the win is the cherry on top of the cake. Yeah.
It couldn't happen to a more incredible human being. Anyone who knows Marshall Muniz will tell you that guy deserves everything that is coming to him. The way he carries himself, the way he walks around, the things that he believes in. Incredible guy. He deserves every single thing. And, I wish him, as everybody else who's encountered him, and even those that haven't, all the best, man. Imagine, how like South Africa has Lucas Radebe, who is like leads a legend, like he's like a global ambassador. I wish that for him, where he becomes like a fan favorite of the football club, where they're like, yo, that's our guy.
It's a local legend,
even post retirement. So just wanted to say shout out to Marshall Munetsi. Big shout out to everybody that came through.
May he stay fit and healthy for the remainder of the season and seasons to come.
Yeah, man.
This week, that's
it's fired. This week, Ndara, obviously we also have to touch in, Nyaza Takapoza last week when we were having fun. I'm koma to ngine matambudziko ka, matambudziko. The Pope
forgot to see ya. My opinions and my observations, but
alright. Tomaita next week mukoma na vigwa. Tomaita next week mukona azadzika adzika ere andopinda muni
I don't know inangwa ndidunye prain autara chokwadi I don't know pane mamwe maskill mamwe madzina angori around Vatican and chichi andinzwisise. All I know is especially mamwe funeral processions atinenge tichiona tichiitika. All I know is dai vanga vari kunzizvoni paita rufu rakadaro kuZimbabwe kana kunangirini kuAfrica kana kuti vanhu vanenge vachitozvitaura vachiti zvine chivanhu chimwe and I don't like just following nema rituals vekuti vanhu hazivi kuti anobva kupi, what are they rooted in, just the blind thing. Anyway, again said pamwe tine maroma panapa.
No, not pamwe, because the Roman Catholic is the biggest religion. 1.4 billion Catholics in the world.
Of course. And it knows that tine Saint Dominic's yakatozara alongside
my bad. But yeah, man.
I don't know.
there was a lot of outpouring of messages. I think the one thing with regards to when like a pope dies, there is not so much people that are wailing in the streets. There is obviously deep sense of grief and melancholy, where people are sad. It's the leader of the pontiff has passed away. But because these gentlemen usually pass away, you know vatikure, it's usually in the 80s, 90s. It's not so much vatorwa nguva yavo isati yakwana. It's more of a celebration or the legacy and things like that. And it feels like this pope was, there's a lot of people that loved, he was beloved, for how he seemingly was a very simple man. Even his coffin was, didn't have the pomps and the frills. He seems to be a man who lived by, he was a man of the liberals, where he was a liberal. But on the other hand, there's also a strong reaction from those that weren't a big fan of his liberal stance. But I don't know much about the Catholic Church to even proffer an opinion. I think the normal thing is just say to nematambudziko,
and that's
to those that are mourning. And obviously it's going to be interesting to see who replaces him and what kind of stance they do. Are they doing a complete reversal of everything that the Pope had put in place, or what is it? But then taking it back straight to Zimbabwe, paZimbabwe vari kunetsa nyaya yetsikidzi mudara. Nyaya yetsikidzi yanetsa mudhara.
Like what?
Sarangu ndonzi tendai masere ndogara mudenga umu. Tsikidzi dzakatombospreyiwa nakansila Dhama, dzina kana kupera akadzispreya kairi, yocha ndetanzwa nadzo kana kuspreya kwadzakaitwa hadzina kana kupera. Chipuka chakangogara chiriko but chikuti shungurudza hadzipere tsikidzi. Ini ndakatombotenga mushonga shumba kana mumba mangu nemuri smart, togara nchimwaya mwaya but hadzipere. Totonema rake yekuti haurumwe kumagiya dzinoruma pese pese but tine malaki chaiwo kuti ukazorumwa uko ende unokwenya hwanawo uchingokwenya ende hadzipere. Tinetone dambudziko nati toshati toita sei, hadzipere tsikidzi. Zvingotarwa navanhu vanongotaurawo kuti zvinhu kuti uspreye zvinhu zvese mumba, magumbeze, mbatya zvese zvinhu zvese uchispreya dzinongopinda pese pese zvokuti hadzipere tsikidzi.
Hanzi tsikidzi dzanetsa. Anti-enzo isha akazvitara andinara kudheni kwenyu futi.
So aside from the comedic, this is an actual, let me play.
It's an actual problem. It's an actual outbreak. Like for real.
For real.
Mad things.
Let me, because we like to inform people on a real rap roll. Yeah, but it's the
residents in Matererini and Matapi flats continue falling prey to bed bugs a week after the Harare City Council's fumigation exercise. Residents mourn the persistence of the ordeal as there is no positive change. Rather, they are witnessing the dawn of a more vicious species of bed bugs. Panashe Mujanye and Wilson Kakurira compiled the following.
This dumping site, once a relief for residents, has now become a suspected breeding ground for bedbugs that survived the fumigation exercises. Weeks after the fumigation of apartments at Matererini flats, bedbugs continue to feast on residents, leaving them frustrated and seeking urgent intervention.
Hapana chakambochinja kubva zvakaspreyiwawo zvinhu zviri kutowedzera. Maza etsikidzi akatozara. Nofanira kuti zvikaspreyiwa maza yoputika, manje haasi kuputika.
Tinochinja chirudzi imwe makadai mawindo esai china kubara kupinda mumawindo mapete atokura mamwe akutoti ukatoiona ungafunga kuti nyama pise nyama kukura bete. Hapana chiri kumbochinja. Makansilas basa ravo nderei? Makansilas basa rakansila nderei? Handi basa kuti vavachenese vavachenese nyika. Ndokuti kuti akanzira ndoda kumirira munhu ndanganyimirira
brother
vachema hanzi dziri fumigation resistant.
I wanted to include that part with the lady, because as soon as I started watching that video, that was my immediate question. What do you mean you fumigated this when the outside of this place still looks like this? Like, how do those things coexist? What do you mean? What have you fumigated?
I'm just gonna correlation here.
The dump site is outside the building.
I mean, one would say it's about time.
And do you know the ridiculous thing about whenever we have outbreaks like this is we have leaders who I'm not one to wake up and use every opportunity to beat up the government and say, because it feels like beating up a dead horse at this point, right? But what I'm not a fan of is whataboutism. Yekuti pamuka a genuine case yekuti people are complaining about Tsikidzi and because the government is always on the defensive and always fighting for its lives, they then look at people complaining about Tsikidzi, and instead of urgent response, yekuti, bro, this would, for me, if I'm part of the government, this would be the perfect, or local government, if I'm part of the council, this would be the perfect opportunity mirizika, and make it look like we're doing more than we're actually doing. Wake up, mangona waksen, people vakapfeka hazmat suits, spray, even yango tiri kuspray nemvura because
I was literally about to say
kuti zvingoonekwa. But do you know what they said? The mayor came out and said kuti vanhu vakango aina hembe dzavo, they will be fine. That was one of the responses. That one was one of the immediate responses. The Herald said kuti nyaya yemetsikidzi is not just a Zimbabwe thing, even ku Paris zviriko. Even ku Paris vangavane. And I'm like, that's how is that any consolation to somebody ari kurungwa netsikidzi right now? Right, all right, oui. Let's Tsikidzi is
late biting.
How is that? So
late Tsikidzi is like nga.
Do you get what I mean? It becomes more of a problem when you become people when there is a genuine case, instead of responding how you should respond. Muda kuita dance around together and come up with no. This is not a hypothetical political situation. We are saying this is an action oriented thing. Vanhu varida kufumigatora Tsikidzi. Bro, how much does it take kuti pamuke even yango kati matrucks anoita garbage collection ari busy? That is the day kuti amuke ari kuMbare achikutura manhingirini kuti
muchimaona achira up and down zvonzi vari kutora action
because part of this is now a psychological thing where part of this is now a psychological thing yekuti, do you know right now even munhu ari kumabvuku, even munhu ari kunhingirina akarumwa makuseni or akarumwa wherever akarara achangoti Tsikidzi. Do you get what I mean? Because they have the same scenario that exists in Mbare. What we have now is a psychological thing where people are now piling on. Even if that is not necessarily a situation, why not relieve those people by doing what is necessary? Where you just wake up and clean the streets.
Because obviously at the same time it's a sanitary thing, and the environment is obviously conducive for El Tsikidzi. But again, we always say this, some of these things and some of these actions, it's so easy to look like you're taking action. It's when I say it's so many slam dunks, brother. Isai kana mvura ine vinegar mchingoti makatoveka mchiti musafeme.
Bro, make the people believe also, that you care.
I don't know, man. Let's have some sanitary. Let's have some, cleanliness, guys. Because Tsikidzi thing is a madness. Bed bugs. Kunoku landlord zvakanzi wakati zvoni mudheni munomumaita Tsikidzi. Landlord, in fact, would actually have to pay for hotera yako kuti vasare vachi fumigate mudheni whilst you're away. That actually happened. Actually, funny enough, one of my classmates had a bed bug issue in their house. They had an infestation.
That's
Landlord had to come. I think wakatosvika pakunodzupura my carpets and everything, and just
That's crazy.
Recarpet the whole place. You know, responsibility, owners.
Responsibility.
One of take some accountability.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if you've come across these. What did you say something?
No. I was gonna say something, but carry on.
No, sorry.
On the topic.
No. We. I was about to move on. What were you about to say?
I was about to move on and say, Uti, in this week's edition of Moromoe Black and Forth, how we repasi.
Talk to me.
Murkona. You see what the man is saying about Ibrahim Traore now. You see what the men are saying about our El Capitan. You see, God damn it.
I was laughing.
God damn it.
I was laughing. I was like, yo, this is crazy.
Sensational.
We might have to do an Africa tour where we find my bridge all over Africa and just record, because
no, because
brother,
right, Papa, they announced. I don't know how true the assassination attempts the claims
very
are.
true.
But I believe, because they're not even making noise about it, right? They squashing my attempts.
If you look
every other month, a assassination. Like even on a military gabi, I don't figure. Yeah, he has to. He has to.
Have you heard about the protests in Paris?
No.
About the citizens in exile who are protesting against his government in Paris.
Ha. Get out of here, man.
That are protesting, that are like, in the past 2 weeks, what has been happening basically is there's been a concerted effort of you guys who are praising him on social media are not even aware of the things that are happening on the ground, and it's like, oh, okay. And part of me was like, okay, is this similar to that Mugabe thing where people outside of Zimbabwe believed Mugabe to be something else, but I'm still not convinced. I think there's a genuinely concerted effort where there's a smear campaign, a concerted, where this man is making strides, and there's somebody's trying to twist the narrative, because last week he came out and said, free education. One of the things that introduced free education
from creche to university.
From creche, and
to university.
And ministers are being stripped of all the packs and hula baloo, back right down to cars, where it's one car per minister. The fiscus of their, like we said in the other episode, there's a lot of people who are not going to be happy.
Not just people who are not going to be happy. Like, the most dangerous people to not be happy are the people in his immediate surrounding. I did hear reports of his right-hand man. I've forgotten his name. They tried to coax my guy into aying. What blows my mind, and what continues to baffle me time and time again when it comes to these Mashita and Mamusa is pattern recognition. People, I don't know why people seem to not clock it, because the way Western imperialism has been operating over the last God knows how many years is very simple. Copy and paste. Like
every time.
Copy and paste. Kana chishanda, don't change it. Magaona. And it always starts with that character assassination. They always start with the character assassination. The people who control the media. No, actually, people are saying Traore is a dictator. Vanhu havasi kufara and whatnot. Boom. And then kana vatanga izvozvo, and then they start introducing democracy, regime change. Like, bro, it's copy and we've seen this time and time ago. I don't know why we don't learn this. They've been doing that to our leaders, very, people centric.
Yeah.
Since decolonization of Africa, bro.
Sankara, Lumumba.
Wona Sankara akapedzera atoitwa wastak nemfeso wake Kampaore, that nigga was snake ass. Even chero vanhu vakasvika kunana Nangirikini, kunana Lumumba, anga akatonyukurwa akatotengeswa nemamwe maniggas ari around him. Like,
I think the difficulty in this day and age is there's just too much information, right? There's back then the problem was there wasn't enough information where information was moving and going around as quickly as
and
it
was
needed
very
to be.
controlled.
It's very controlled. The quickest thing at the time was a telegram. Like that was the quickest to instant messaging as you could get. These days now is you're getting information as quickly as you would get disinformation. You're getting this at the same time where it's like, okay, so which is which, right? Who is, and by the time you figure it out, you haven't been in a position to make the rightful decision. I just hope, my wish at this point is to now get connected to, the people of Burkina Faso, where I would love to hear first-hand accounts,
at this point, so now the beauty, what I will say is the beauty now with social media, as you rightfully said, that people are getting misinformation and information on the ground in real time, and you really can't control the discourse given the advent of globalization via technology. And there's been footage and content floating around of people of Burkina Faso vanomuka makuseni vachigeza portrait ya Traore vachiti chimji chedu ichi. And on the flip side, in America inyare, fuck, them niggas are nyare, bro. They've now assigned some black general army top head honcho to be in charge of the Africa United States relations, whatnot. Yeah, just put a black face in front of it.
Yeah.
And this nigga just come out with a straight face. I just we are concerned about democracy in Burkina Faso. I feel like they're already starting to throw in a need for intervention and chi. Now, back in the day, it would have been easier to spin that narrative and Gaddafi the nigga, right?
Yeah.
But now we see
it's
through
like,
it.
We're seeing this at the same time.
Come on, stop it. What are you talking about, bro? Like you look like a mug sitting there with a straight face. Whilst man when you Trump, like the arrogance, bro. Oh my God. Oh,
it's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous, bro. Big time.
Speaking of things happening on the continent, I don't know if you've heard about, the recent Mark G scandal.
Oh, with the Mini
Lamine.
So what was the genesis of that? I heard some bits, but
the genesis of it is Mark G has always had things to say about Lamine. He has always had something outlandish to say about. But the most recent was, they seem to have a guest, and Lamine is one of the topics that popped up. They were talking about her recent breakup or something, and he insinuates that her privates must have some, like, to the effect of that's why she keeps losing men, or that's why she can't keep a man, because her thing must have some otherwise order. And obviously this gets a big reaction, and
It's crass. Yeah.
it's crass, it's crude, it's ridiculous. It shouldn't happen.
It's a
But
crass
the problem
association.
is, because we live at a time where there's an outrage economy. I've been trying to process this, and I feel like at this point it feels intentional on the part of Mark G to say something like that, because as people who also produce podcasts, knowing the steps it takes to get to the other side of
Kuti
publishing that
yazobuda, kuti
podcast,
yatopublishwa.
there's
Pane
so
dzimwe times
many,
dzatombozvibatawo hana tega kuti zvone.
like, if people knew kuti pama episode avanenge vachitocomplaina kuti mafaku akanyanya, original anenge atori maybe 20, tozobvisawo mamwe 10, tosiyawo 10. But I'm saying kuti our podcast is a smaller operation than Anamak G. Anamak G have actually a team of fact checkers so at any point,
so they've got more responsibility to
aside from responsibility, there's actually people where, I mean, it's here it's just two of us, right? I can hear something and say, or you can hear something and say, but that's if it falls through the cracks of me and you, it could. It could pass. But where it's like there's 3 guests, there's a whole team of editors and film, they'll be like, passing those levels to get to the point where it's edited and kept within to say we are publishing this. It feels like an intentional move for whatever reason to leave that in there, knowing the reaction it would cause, and believing probably that it was all beneficial to the podcast, like the talkability, which
of course engagement that it comes with
of it's irresponsible, bro. I think it's very, very irresponsible.
Like as I openly admitted that I'm not too and I tried to refrain from and speaking with, because I hate niggas that speak with so much conviction but uninformed. I can't stand it. So I'll always preface something by saying too informed, but so from what I understand, and correct me if I'm wrong, apparently at some point Lamine, there were issues, rumors, reports, or something like that went around purporting that she accused him or claimed that Mark G was a perpetrator of the R word or something of that sort.
Right.
And I believe those claims turned out to be unfounded. I don't know. I'm yet to look up on it.
Okay, so then that would be the basis of
their beef. So that would be the foundation of his disdain for her. Yeah. Which, to play devil's advocate, and if we're slinging things onto each other's names, let's just sling them. Let's just go back and forth.
Do you know the reason why I said yes, but do you know the reason why I said immediately no? Is because I am a big fan of a well-calculated back and forth. Big fan. The problem with this is there's certain back and forth, if we are doing sparring where jab, and then I say, everyone is like, whoa.
Okay.
There's certain things that put a war, because it almost negates this back and forth, because it's like you've crossed a line.
Okay.
That's where I am, where it's like, I understand if you're saying that's the basis of your disdain. I absolutely understand if you're saying that's the basis of your disdain. But the problem with that is, maybe it doesn't exist in recent memory, the origination of this beef. Then it makes it necessary to provide context, right?
Okay.
One, it makes it necessary to provide context, but also you can do better in your insult than making it that. Do you get what I mean? You can do better in your,
because
it just sounds juvenile. There's not just even the people that are the people that are supporting you. It's like you can do better in your, because now that you've given me this context, if that's what actually happened, this man might genuinely have reason to have disdain if you accuse me of that. But even with that genuine reason, have a better insult. Criticize this person's show. Could she's a terrible actress, or she's not a good Nigrikini. Why are we resorting to private parts? If I hear that, I'm just like, wangu.
It's very juvenile. You're right.
It's very juvenile.
But I will say again, I'm not. No dog in this fight. I've got no dog in this fight. No horse in this race whatsoever. And again, I will always lament this by saying, if it's true that she had made claims or peddled the idea, or spoke on something of that sort in line of that accusation doesn't even have to be true. And we know that in modern days, given social media, court of public opinion, chaguti, even chiro if it turns out to be unfounded, but parangoita vanhu vanozvibeliever and whatnot, that's something that could literally kill your reputation. Like guys, that is a serious thing, because it's a serious matter, and if it's true, it's something that needs to be addressed, and it
needs to.
But if thrown frivolously and it turns out uninformed, whether it's above the belt or below the belt for the accused to retaliate, I feel like at that point, however he chooses to retaliate, whatever he chooses to retaliate can actually never equate to that original, because the stakes between the two
are not
completely non-comparable, bro.
No, but you see now
is it a dead rebuttal? Yes.
You see now the problem is we live in a world where the people that are wrong are usually very loud, right? My worry with that response is because it takes away from the discussion that you are rightfully trying to introduce, where you are suggesting, if somebody peddled a false accusation, let's come to the table and resolve this matter. Somebody has to apologize. Someone has to be big enough to say, hey, my man, I wrongfully. But you see, the problem with that dead rebuttal now is we are not talking about fixing Ratazgwana Uyu. Now, as a matter of fact, the people that the people that are in support of Mini are saying, that's why somebody like that would accuse her of Nigrigini, because these are the kind of things that he says about women.
Of course, it's right next door.
Do you get what I mean? So
no, I get it.
It feeds into that fire where this conversation, it almost seems like now it's a very convoluted fight where no one will remember how it really started, because we've thrown so many things to the wall And now Panama privacy, now Panama Ningirgini, this camp has been emboldened by, and because they don't want to take out accountability for what they originally said, they are now propping this up and saying, maybe that particular allegation was wrong, but how can someone who says things like this,
Of course, he must have some. He must have some skeletons in his closet because
it
he's
might
too
not
quick
be,
to
it might not be
to
sexual
quip like
violence,
that.
but it's verbal abuse. Things like this. How can someone with a daughter? How can someone? But aside from that, my worry, my real worry is the irresponsibility of the words, whether justified or not. Mark G has grown a platform that is big, that employs numerous people. Like within his podcast network, there is maybe 6-7 different podcasts that do sports, that do amapiano, that do just purely comedy, that do cars, that do. Why would you risk upending that entire empire, whether justified or not? Because these guys, just a month ago, they were being celebrated. They moved their whole podcast network to now screen on MTV, on DSTV.
Multi-choice.
Multi-choice,
multi-choice,
right?
multi-choice had to come out and make a statement regarding his remarks towards Lamine.
Do you get what I mean?
And
So
I-
it's
and I
those
guess
kind of
that's-
things where, like, there's so many women that are employed within that network. Why would you? It's one of those things, whether correct or not, even if it was factual that there's an order, who does it benefit to say things like that?
What kufadza terrorists?
No, but that's what I'm saying. Kuti kufadza
Kufadza
kwachona.
terrorists. At the end of the day, kufadza terrorists.
But terrorists rachona, bro, there has to be a pros and cons of. We are now a corporate. That me and you can say in group chat. No matter how much we believe in those things. But when you start employing over 20 people, or not even 20 people, when you start employing anyone.
When someone starts to say off this, you can't be that callous.
Whether justified or not, whether watango or not, that's my worry, really and truly. But
no. Man, like I said, I mean, again, I'm not too well informed because for all I know, I don't watch the Machipo. For all I know, at the time that this came out, for all I know, they had a whole episode where they spoke about it, dispelled thingies, and then then he approached it in a level-headed manner and chaguti. And then now going forth, pango neka hangover, ke beef, anytime, any chance I get to take a jab, I'm finna take a jab. But you're absolutely right. It's very juvenile. It's right up there with the hey, anika diki. Like, ma'am, can we be original, please?
Like,
because it's a low ball because urungwenda kune ego. Uruchaga a very.
And this affects you as much as it affects him. Because ndimi mune vana 4 naye.
You know what I mean? Mune vana 4. Mam chite ipapo.
Mam
nasi. Okay. Ajongwe nasi.
Like,
cool.
Oh, okay.
Cool story. But yeah, abatakaona uchipopotedza na side chick wake. Ajongwe nasi. Okay.
Muchirwa.
Go. Yeah.
You know. But before we wrap up, Mdara, sports. I'm going through a lot.
My sports guru sparker, bro. Yo,
I'm going through a lot. None of my sports teams are performing well, brother.
Brother, it's rough. Well, I'm not impressed with what Anthony Edwards did to the boys there.
The Lakers got sent to Cancun.
I'm not feeling that. But to be fair, they had issues.
They had issues. That
it would have been great. It would have been a great story if they saw it through.
I honestly thought we were headed there, but hey, the playoffs always expose. But
of course.
it seems like there's never been a bigger sign of the handover takeover happening, because it seems like past 2 years there has been like the young guns, the current crop of superstars has been taking the throne, be it kuMbare, where
kuMbare.
Messi, Cristiano, hey, they've been getting walloped, bro. Like in the past 2 days, Cristiano lost a semi-final, Messi lost a semi-final, LeBron got knocked out, Lewis Hamilton, hasn't been, F1, it hasn't been going well, and the young ones, kuMbare, Lamine, Yamal,
It's
is
like a
doing a
change of the old guard.
madness.
Mfana
You know?
wawe murwere. Jesus
Oscar
Christ.
Piastri is doing craziness.
Oh
The
my
Lando
gosh.
Norrises are doing craziness. The Max Verstappens are doing the craziness. Anthony Edwards, Shea, Gilgis. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how to pronounce his
It's
middle
Shea
name.
Gilgis Alexandra.
Yeah. SGA
they're
is doing a
cooking.
madness over there.
Matting.
It's crazy, bro. Tennis, the same thing is happening. I think Carlos. What's his name? There's Carlos. Is it Carlos Alcatraz? But there's just basically been
something weird like that.
New names popping up and doing bits and ka-resistance kayake kuti unongochiti mfesi wangu like sure here zvatopera here
zvatopera. Oh man. And you know what? You know what I find that sport is usually a big signifier of a change in generations.
Yeah.
Because blink and you realize, yo, the niggas we grew up to chiti boys who Bernard, Anna, KD, LeBron, Steph Curry, Harden, Retete. All these men are like now 30 plus vakura. But in our heads, we still hold on to the memories that we had of them in their prime.
Yeah.
And then it clearly signifies, yo, this is the end of an era. And we're probably going to be the niggas who are hung up on our generation. We are in some next 10 years of oh, this guy's better than KD. Like, KD, get the fuck out of here. You niggas haven't ever seen Kevin Durant in his prime. You don't know what are you talking about. We've
become the uncles. We've become the uncles. Because I can imagine.
We're unks now.
We're unks.
We're holding on to the image. Like, when I'm Messi right now, even if you look at the stats, I'm fan of Lamine Yamal. What can I just say before I get into that? I am so surprised that
I want him drug tested.
I want his genes tested for mutation because what is that?
I've been trying to include, brother. I've been trying to include a clip.
What are we watching?
I'm trying to include the clip of the game yesterday.
Jesus.
I've never seen anything like it.
Yo, mfano you is.
I never
thought that would see a replacement. It's mind blowing, and it's also testament to the progression of human ability and capability. It's like tinongoramba tichingo pusha the
keep getting
envelope,
better.
And it's amazing to watch in real time because when we saw Usain Bolt Achimanya 958, everyone immediately felt and believed we will never ever again see that. Patakona Messi na Ronaldo vachita zvanoita zvezve, we were so convinced we will never ever again see that. But whilst these goats vachiri vapenyu, we're seeing their replay. When I'm fan of gout, where we go Australia, the Sudanese, I'll go Australia, I'll go. Yo,
brother.
Yo, that's mad.
There's actually an argument that Lamine Yamal might be the best 17-year-old we've ever seen, ever.
I don't even think that's an argument, bro. if there's one debate that's pretty much settled regarding that kid's greatness, is the best 17-year-old we've ever seen. There's like he's literally broken every young player record, so there's no debate there.
The reason why the only reason the people that are fighting it, the reason why they're fighting it is because they can see where it's going, right? They don't want to accept it now because they will be forced to accept that he is eventually better than Messi. So they are trying to fight the conversation now before it gains legs. And they say, and because if they accept Kuti, 17-year-old, if he maintains at 18, maintains at 19, 2 years from now, if he begs that World Cup
treble this season before World Cup. If he does the treble this season, it's rough for them, for the goats.
He's so good.
It's long for them, man. And I feel sorry for Haaland and Mbappe because it looked like they were about to take over the torch. Yeah, Messi and Ronaldo as the goats, but then this Mfana, it just comes from nowhere and starts.
Mbappe he has to do something crazy in the next 2 years.
Mbappe akazvimba Bibo right now. Oh my God.
It's so crazy, but nothing comes. I was watching Barcelona go at it with Inter Milan.
What a game
yesterday, and at some point it hit me kuti team yangu inini haizvigone zvokuitika. Like football players.
My dad and Maino makati a young kid, and then Vamazaratizo a young kid makati.
Football players from my football team absolutely cannot do any of the things that are happening. When you can see people vachichkoka ma hamstring, vachiminyuka because they've been asked, and you're like, when you can see people say, brother, that game was like tennis.
I got it.
Like, you're like, yo, and my team is playing tonight, and so, hey, Muti, keep us in your prayers, man. But
nah. But he had a good showing against Leon, no? It was not.
No, we Takajuma Boresh Bububu. Those. I will never come to you and lie. Could United play well? There was no reason. There was no reason. Tangataka wina 2-0. Tikadzorwa 2-0 yacho tikaita 2-2. Tikagoweswa 3. Tikagoweswa 4. Tikatozoita come back from 4-2. Do you know how ridiculous that is?
We shouldn't be here.
We shouldn't be in this position where why are we coming back from a team that was coming? So it was but yeah, man, I just want to throw this out there, speaking things into the ether. A lot of people were sending their thoughts, like, yo, where'd you guys go from here? This is this is a guest. This is a... So, in light of the vibes that you guys clearly saw, in light of the vibes that have been prevalent whenever we ever had guests, I mean, Nigel is the first one who kind of like set the tone in terms of like how we interact with our guests. It's all fun and vibes and all that, and Nkoma Tony
we've had a few. Confused came through. He had a good showing. Nyasha Michelle came through, had a good showing.
We've always had, but obviously Nkoma Tongi took it to a whole new level. So in light of everything that you've seen, who do you think, it's not a matter of who should we have as a guest, but who do you think would bring that energy, Eba Bridge, because we don't want Eba Bridge and then Vasatva Gara, they say, hey, let me dust off. People, we want Vanantongo Gara because they know Bridge. So it's
yeah. You let us know, and again, summer barbecue things msama
Zvatakupinda musama. Zvatakupinda musama. Ika. My ingredients
it's your
esama.
boy Mr. Freeze
Mr. Frizozo.
neka mjiba nekacha beaver.
Yes, sir. So yeah, we're sorting that out. US shows. See you guys early June. 1 June. I think those tickets are not paid next week because we're left with 20 something tickets for both shows. Dallas on the 7th of Dallas on the 1st of June.
Yebo.
Irving Arts Center, and then New York on the 7th of June. So looking forward to that one.
Wow.
Yeah. I think that is all. Mr. Chiefs, do you have any outstanding matters that you want to throw in there and discuss?
No, not
That's
really.
it?
Apart from big congratulations.
Thank you.
Tinongozati baby shower.
Ngazviradziwe kamumakofi umo. Mari dzemakorokoto.
Kumana, but there's another extra mouth to feed, guys. Guys, my napkin.
Guys.
In fact, fun we change it to Marima napkin.
Marima. It pops out as Ningiri has bought 2 napkins.
Huggies. Ningiri has bought 3 huggies.
Yeah. Nah, shout out to you.
That's what. Yeah, but can I your pressure mdara?
Yeah.
2-0
ndakalida. After
2-0 ndakalida. Walk say for him dara, like now even my mom's looking at me like who knows right when I tell you that.
Alpha.
Come on, bro. Wakundipa pressure. Ndakufana watsvaka pamwe ndine vari musango wano.
Ndimi rich uncle. West End uncle.
You know what? You know what?
Rich
that's
uncle,
mine.
You know?
That's my. That's my. That's the cool
pressure,
uncle.
You know?
That's
cool
the
uncle.
Cool. They let me
the one
play
that teaches
cool uncle.
Ndichikoke here with the kids.
Anoendotamba hangu dinosaurs namaita and
so,
whatnot. No, that's fine, man.
Yeah.
Hey,
but
anyway, kana pane varuda vana, guys.
Adakuita half.
Kana pane adakuenda halves. I know the modern woman despises 50-50, but do you want to?
Let's go DNA for DNA.
Yeah. Tima jeans. Makaona bamdi kwangu last week, but tima good genetics.
Oh, let me read this. Let me read this message, man. I've been getting very outlandish messages because of Tongai.
I've been getting mad messages too.
Let me just get. This is the most recent one. It came this morning. Hey Kandoro, hope you're well. I know this is a bit weird, but I am really interested in Tongai, and since you have a stick to reach him, I thought I should try it this way. Tell him a young Zim babe in the UK is interested. I'm 30 this year. Thanks in advance. This person doesn't even follow me. They just sent me, like, even after sending this message, they didn't even disguise it with, let me follow him. So he thinks, no. They just sent their message. They were like, and
straight ulterior motives.
Yeah, I'm using you as a means to an end. I don't want you to think I'm a fan of yours. No. I just recognize that you're close to what I want.
Well, like I said, guys, there's a Chilisa Trubo in Ruba, like, you know what I mean? It's the same genes. It's the same DNA. It's the same DNA. And you know, a lot of people were asking, and I realized that even in the episode, there was a reference of so someone messaged me as well, and they said, which is it? So I'll explain it again one more time, because I believe I explained this before. So Tongai's father is my father's little brother. Saka murima sekuru vangu, munoti sekuru vangu, Bishop, and then I believe third born is Alexander Chirisa, who is Tungai's father.
Yeah.
And so Tungai's father is Bamdik to my dad. And
Tungai is cousins with your dad.
Tungai is my father's first cousin.
Yes.
Tungai namdarangu mkoma nimningina.
Yeah.
In that way. But growing up, but because he was much younger, and Segura Alexandra had many kids. In fact, the firstborn who was closer to my father's age, who's now late, Thomas, was one of my best men, Wamdarongo kumchato kwao. Saga di bamdik vangu in the most truest literal sense. That's the relation. But because we're kind of closer in age than he is, Namdarongo, it just kind of feels like. And even when they were younger, when we go to school, because Tungai's little brothers and my older brother went to the same school. And whenever I'd go to see my brother, no, Bamdik Andrew, Bamdik Tamani, G. And they didn't even like the whole Bamdik stuff that I'm not which Bamdik. Don't do that. Don't stop that. Yeah. So yeah, that's the relation for character. So I say that to say.
Yeah.
It's the same DNA, guys.
It's the same.
If it's the bloodline you're after, if you can get it here.
If anything, it's more refined now.
Hey,
it's more refined.
Visa my impurities.
It's a little. It's even woke now. It's woke DNA. It's devil's advocate DNA.
You're closer to me in age. Don't worry. Oh, you're doing too much. We are gonna.
I'm gonna nonga mdara.
Nongerera mafufu. Kandora 2-0, guys. What the hell? Come on. When we said round off to the nearest,
round off to the nearest Chirisa. All right, Mr. Chirisa, I think this is a good place to end it. Let me go hang out with the bears.
Go and get acquainted with the news. Who does she look like?
Hey, to be honest, I never.
I mean, they're still too young right now.
Yeah, 24 hours. 24 hours.
Yeah.
24 hours.
Fresh out the oven, guys. Dedication. This man could be tending to his newborn baby girl right now. He clearly has far more important things. Like I couldn't.
Imagine the first place I show up bridge.
Takatopotsa taita episode nezuro muna achibuda mu
to be honest, that was the plan. Remember,
that was the plan.
There was a plan.
Even banana performed jama let's go vanopa bridge austenga sadza rakakwana. It's not enough. We're not getting enough sadza for this. No. It's not enough sadza for this. Let's not do that.
Saga, if you've been holding out waiting to sponsor the podcast, this is a good time to I have enough kids now to hold my placards and put in you in the please bring that money. Serious. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the one and only the Black and Forth Boys River Bridge Western Chirisa.
Yes, alongside Mr. Achatombuti International Kandizo to baby daddy Kandizo,
father of two, gang.
Gang.
I now need another GD6 that says bye bye. So
it's only right. It's only right. Because your favoritism, guys. Come on. Your favoritism. We can't do that. We need to equal. Yeah. But there's that.